To take out the front latch cylinder, Cadillac part number 88957089, we need to have the roof partially open. We have actually raised the roof, or actually opened it a little bit, and then waited 10 minutes about for the system to time out, meaning after about 10 minutes the pressure in the system gets released and suddenly you can move the top freely by hand. We have then secured it with a paper towel, basically the inside of the cardboard, sticking into the matching pin on the other side, and secured that on the windshield. That way the top is safe and will not fall forward against the windshield, and it certainly won't fall back. In order to remove the cylinder, which is located in the middle here, we have to take the headliner out. To take the headliner out, we have to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Phillips screws in the front, and 5 matching Phillips screws in the rear, and 2 Torx screws. We'll show you those in a moment. So for now, let's just take these Phillips screws out. I think I don't have to show you taking every single one out. Just trust me, it's easy to take these 6 screws out. The next shot will be the rear, taking those screws out, and we just take the headliner off. So now we take the rear bolts out on the headliner. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Phillips bolts and 1 T25 Torx. That is vertical right here where my finger is. I'll take the Torx out first. So there's 1 Torx on the left side, 1 on the right side, and then the 5 Phillips. I don't think I have to demonstrate to you. Let me just show you this Torx bolt. Here it is on top of my wrench. Obviously next we take those 5 Phillips out, and since we've undone the front already, we can then just take the headliner out. Just for illustration, the headliner is held in place on the side with these trim pieces, one on the left, one on the right, of course. And what I want to show you is these 3 tabs. We have removed the T25 Torx bolt in the rear, and now on the front part you simply pull down to pull these tabs out. Now the headliner will come out. Actually, you don't have to pull the this trim piece on the right side. You need to pull only one in order to get the headliner out of the car. And this is a perfect illustration. You want to be proactive replacing these cylinders, because if your front lock cylinder leaks a lot, it will soak this headliner in oil, and you'll have to replace the headliner or be stuck with an ugly headliner. So be proactive, take care of it before it gets bad. So here is the front latch cylinder mounted in the top panel. We have lowered the panel towards the windshield to make it more stable and easy to reach. The cylinder itself is fastened with a 6mm pin in the rear that has a clip on it to be removed first, and in the front we have an asymmetric hex nut axle that it is sliding on and is secured again with a larger circlip that needs to be pulled out of the way. Then lastly, there's the 2 hydraulic line clips for the hydraulic hoses. Once we undo those things, we can simply swap in our replacement. So let me show you. The rear pin is, I would call it a bayonet style. The trick is to slide your small flat screwdriver in there such that the screwdriver partially opens it, and you can then simply slide the clip off the pin. The pin is stationary. The trick actually is this part of the cylinder mounting flips off, so it is hinged in the front and simply flips off. We take that out of the way. Lastly, we take the large circlip off of this hex pivot. Again, we just put our small flat screwdriver in the gap and pry that circlip out of the way. Have it a controlled motion so that your clip doesn't go flying. Then this asymmetric hex ending, or rod ending of the cylinder is actually pressed on. It's a fairly tight fit, and you may have to lever this a little bit with a screwdriver, and it can be easy and it can be tough in some cases. You get lucky that you can just slide it straight down with a little bit of wiggling. In some cases you need to apply a little bit of force. Keep in mind there's an O-ring up here that you want to keep in place. It prevents rattling. So here's our cylinder removed, and we now only have to remove the two stainless steel sliding clips. You can fit a small flat screwdriver into the gap between the hydraulic hose and the clip and turn the screwdriver, and that will loosen the clip. You can then slide the clip out of the rail. Make sure you don't lose it. Do the same thing in the rear. Slide the clip out of the rail. Have a paper towel handy and pull the hoses out. Mind the hose numbers. 51 is at the rod end, shaft end of the cylinder, and number 52 is at the blunt end of the cylinder. You just pull these hoses out. One and the other. And now we get our replacement cylinder that has just been shipped from Top Hydraulics. It comes with O-rings that you put on the hydraulic line ends. Let me illustrate that right away. I'll take the O-rings out of the package. One, two. These O-rings are tiny. Top Hydraulics always ships a spare in case you lose one. If you need more, you just let us know. The way you reinstall the hoses is you first slide the O-ring onto the fitting, and then you push the fitting into the cylinder. Now, sliding the O-rings onto the fittings. This one still had the old one on. Typically the old O-rings stay stuck in the old cylinder. So you just slide it until it hits the first obstacle, and at that point you push the fitting in straight. Same with the one in the rear. These went in quite easily. You don't want to force them so you don't pinch anything. Have the hoses in place, and now we secure the hoses by sliding them back on all the way. Click in place, and the second hose secured by the front clip in. It is secured. Now we want to make sure we have our rod end in the correct position. Push this on. At the same time, push the rear of the cylinder onto its mounting pin. Got the rear taken care of. The front is a little cocked. One trick to get this on easier if it doesn't slide easily is have a larger socket that you can pound on. Like, what size do I have here? This is a 19mm or 3/4 inch. I just put this on here and tap a few times. There, the piece is back secured, and I will slide my retaining circlip on here. Well, looks like I need to hammer just a tad more. Not so easily done when I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way of the camera. So I will tap on this a bit more. The circlip is back in place. Then the rear circlip back in place. We slide the retaining piece of the mounting bracket back on. Ha! You caught me making a mistake. I secured the circlip before I had the mounting bracket back on. So first the bracket, then the circlip, and we are done. All we have to do is put the headliner back on and the front lock cylinder has been successfully replaced. Ta-da!